Now the next thing we are going to look into is what is called the polarity of the bond. What is called what? Polarity of the bond. Polarity of the bond. We are still on the unique nature of carbon. We've mentioned the valency of the carbon. We've mentioned the ability to catenate, the polarity of the bond, and the type of hybridization. We've treated the valency, where we said that the valency of carbon is what? 4. That carbon is said to be what? Tetravalent. True or false? And we've mentioned something under catenation, the ability of atoms of the same element to form stretching, branching, and what? Ring structures. Now we want to consider what is called what? Polarity of the bond. Now I want you to understand this. Imagine two children sharing food. If both takes equal portion, we said the sharing is what? Balance. True or false? But if one child drags more food to himself, the sharing becomes what? Uneven. In the same way, in chemistry, that is what is called bonding. Under bond, we have the ionic bond, the covalent bond, and dative bond, and so many of them. Now, when atoms form covalent bond, they share electrons, right? Now, but here is the question. Do all atoms share electrons equally? The answer is what? No. Some atoms attract the electrons more strongly than others. Now, this difference in attraction leads to what is called what? Bond polarity. What is called what? Bond polarity. So we can have a bond that is polar and a bond that is what? Non-polar. So that is what we are trying to look into. The polarity of the bond that carbon can form. Exactly. Now the question is, what is bond polarity? Any attempts? Now, bond polarity refers to how electrons are shared between covalently bonded atoms. I repeat, how electrons are shared between covalently bonded what? Atoms. Remember the story we gave you between two children that were sharing food, right? So now we have electrons here that are being shared. Once electrons are shared, once there is sharing of electrons, we are going to form a bond, and that bond is what is called what? Covalent bond. That bond is what is called what? Covalent bond. But if there is transfer of electron, we are going to have what is called what? Ionic bond. But in organic compounds, the bond we normally have is what? Covalent bond. So that's why we are focusing on what? The electron being what? Shared. Exactly. So that's how these electrons are shared between the covalently bonded atoms is what we refer to as what? The bond what? Polarity. Is that clear? So if the electrons are shared equally, I repeat, if the electrons are shared what? Equally, the bond is said to be what? Non-polar. The bond is said to be what? Non-polar. But if these electrons are shared unequally, the bond will be what? Polar. So anytime we say there is sharing of electrons, we form a bond called covalent bond. But if this sharing is done equally, we form what is called what? Non-polar covalent bond. But if this sharing is done unequally, we form what is called what? Polar covalent bond. Does that make sense to you? Good. Now let's consider these examples where we have hydrogen molecule and hydrogen chloride. We have the first point, the hydrogen molecule. Hydrogen molecule, which is represented as what? H2. This hydrogen molecule has how many atoms? 2 atoms of hydrogen, right? So someone can say that the atomicity of hydrogen here is what? 2. Because atomic simply means the number of atoms in one molecule of an element. Does that make sense to you? Now, when we have this bond between them, these 2 hydrogen atoms, since they are atoms of the same element, these electrons will be shared equally or unequally? Equally, right? So since there is equal sharing of electrons, we then form a polar covalent bond or non-polar covalent bond. Non-polar covalent bond, right? That simply means that this hydrogen molecule is what? Non-polar. Does that make sense to you? Now, if we consider hydrogen chloride, hydrogen chloride, which is represented as HCl. Exactly. Are they atoms of the same element? No. Now, since they are atoms of different elements, will there be equal sharing or unequal sharing? Unequal sharing. Now, between hydrogen and chlorine, which one is more electronegative? Chlorine. So, chlorine being more electronegative, we attract more electrons to itself than what? Hydrogen. So, if we should represent it this way now, we have something like this. Look at this. If we should represent the density of the electrons like this, this part is bigger because more electrons are attracted towards the what? Chlorine. Is that clear? So this bond, will it be polar or non-polar? polar. So the bond in HCl is what? Polar covalent. Exactly. Why the bond in hydrogen molecule is what? Non-polar what? Covalent. Does that make sense to you? Now my question is, why does the unequal sharing of electrons occur? Any attempt? Now I want you to know something. That the unequal sharing occurs because some atoms attract electrons more strongly than what? Others. Exactly, I repeat, that the unequal sharing occurs because some atoms attract electrons more strongly than what? Others. Now the ability of an atom to attract the shared electron in a covalent bond is called what? Electronegativity. I repeat, the ability of an atom to attract shared electron in a covalent bond is what is called what? Electronegativity. Exactly. Now atoms with high electronegativity pull the shared electrons closer to themselves, just like in the case of HCl. Chlorine being more electronegative will pull the electron more to itself than what? Hydrogen. Is that clear? Don't forget that point. Now the next thing we're going to consider now is what is called the polarity in carbon compound, because carbon is the major reason why we are here. Exactly. Now I want you to bear something in mind, that carbon can form both polar covalent bond and what? Non-polar covalent bond, depending on the atoms bonded to it. Exactly. So the question is, who is bonding to carbon? Is it hydrogen? Is it oxygen? Is it nitrogen? And so on. So, but remember, both of in all, it will form covalent bond. But it may be a polar covalent or a what? Non-polar covalent. Does that make sense to you? Now let's look at that. Okay. Now we have the polarity in carbon compounds. Like I said earlier, that carbon can form a non-polar covalent and it can also form a polar covalent, depending on what? The atom bonded to it. Are you with me? Now the bond, for example, the bond between carbon and hydrogen is generally considered to be what? Non-polar covalent, because their electronegativity values are very close to each other. Now, what does that mean? That if two different atoms have very close electronegativity value, that means the difference in electronegativity will be very low. Once the difference in electronegativity is very low, they will form a non-polar covalent compound. Does that make sense to you? But if the difference in electronegativity is very high, they tend to form a polar covalent compound, or you may end up having what is called ionic compound. But let's leave that for now. So in the case of carbon and what? And hydrogen, the electronegativity value is almost the same, a very close electronegativity value. For this, they will form a non-polar what? Covalent compound. Is that clear? Now, I want you to bear something in mind. Now, remember, in organic chemistry, once we have an organic compound that contains only carbon and hydrogen, what do we call it? Hydrocarbon. We call it what? Hydrocarbon. So when these two join to form organic compound, they usually form what is called what? Hydrocarbon. So what are hydrocarbon? They are those organic compounds that contain only carbon and what? Hydrogen. Exactly. So hydrocarbons, will they be non-polar covalent or polar covalent? Non-polar covalent. Reason, the electronegativity value of carbon and hydrogen are very close to each other. Is that clear? Now, what are the examples here we have under hydrocarbon? We have the alkanes, right? We have what? Alkanes. We have the alkenes. We also have the what? Alkynes. So the first I mentioned there, alkane. The second one is what? Alkene. The third one is what? Alkyne. So what type of bond do you expect in any of these? Is what? Non-polar what? Covalent compound. Is that clear? Now let's consider a situation whereby carbon is bonded to highly electronegative elements. Bonded to what? Highly electronegative elements. And what are the examples of highly electronegative elements? You know, we have the fluorine, the oxygen, and what? Nitrogen. Use the code FON, FON. Exactly. Fluorine, oxygen, and what? Nitrogen. Now let's look at that. When carbon is bonded to these highly electronegative elements, like what? F, O, and what? N, where we have the fluorine, we have the oxygen, we have the what? The nitrogen. Now, anytime carbon is bonded to any of these, because these elements are more electronegative than carbon, these ones will attract the electrons more to themselves than carbon. Now, are we going to have equal sharing of electron or unequal sharing of electron? Unequal sharing of electron. So when carbon is bonded to any of these, either fluorine, oxygen, or nitrogen, exactly, they tend to form a polar covalent compound, because there is what? Unequal sharing of what? Electron. That's the point I want us to know. That what makes carbon to be unique is that it can form both polar covalent and what? Non-polar covalent. Anytime it's bonded to highly electronegative elements, it tends to form what? A polar covalent due to unequal sharing of electron. But anytime it is bonded to an element that has a very close electronegative value to it, are you with me? They are going to form a what? A non-polar covalent compound, because there is what? Equal sharing of electron. Does that make sense to you? Now the next we are going to consider is what is called hybridization.